What is up, people of YouTube? Remember in the last video how we got the Volkswagen 5-cylinder in the engine bay of the BMW E30? Yeah, well, all that has to come out now. It was a complete waste of time. I just wanted to do it for funsies and see what everything was going to look like inside the engine bay. But now I got to pull it out again and do it all over again in the future. But I'm really happy that I put the engine in the engine bay to kind of see what it looked like, and it made the things in my brain really happy. But we need to pull this thing out of the bay and take the transmission off of it because my friends over at Southbend Clutch have been waiting patiently for me to put on their clutch setup that they sent me. So let's just get right to it, baby. You know, as we sit here and tie this seatbelt onto the engine so I can lift it up again, I do actually want to ask you guys something, and I'm not really sure how to ask it. Now, I guess the question is, what do you guys think of the YouTube videos? Now, a lot of people have told me that they feel like they're hanging out in the shop with their buddy and just wrenching on cars. That was never my intentions for the video. You know, but if the videos feel that way and you guys enjoy them in that sense, then I don't really need to do anything else. I suppose I ask because in the grand scheme of things, I wonder if this is a sustainable format. I mean, obviously you do have guys like Taylor Ray and Vice Grip Garage that do these style of videos where it's just kind of like sit back and watch me work. But of course my fears are, you know, once we hit a certain threshold of our YouTube following, is that not going to be enough? And is this kind of style format not going to be sustainable? So please do let me know in the comments down below, like what you guys think of the style, the format, just kind of like the feel of the videos. Because in a perfect world, I would have somebody, you know, filming for me and then have B-roll and kind of like the normal car YouTuber stuff that you see. But then again, do I want to do that and be like everyone else, or do I want to be different and have my own kind of style? I'm also putting a lot of trust into this seatbelt right now because we're kind of going at a high angle. I think it's fine, right? Definitely not sketchy to do by myself whatsoever. We can start to bring her down a little bit. But I guess, like, going back to what I was yapping about, if we had one more person here being like a cameraman, like, wouldn't that kind of like lose the feeling of like the homegrown vibe that I kind of got going on right now? That's what I worry about, you know? I definitely can't afford to pay a videographer though right now. I haven't even made any money myself. But I guess like the one thing that I'm trying to get at here is like, if I don't have anything to film about one of the particular builds, like I don't have any videos for this week because my channel has become so build focused. So if you guys have any ideas or insights, please do let me know, drop a comment, and we'll work our way through it. Now we can pop the transmission off. There we go. Well, unfortunately, we've ran into our first major roadblock. Good thing I stopped working on the clutch and flywheel setup for the 07K RX-8 transmission combination. Let me explain to you guys what the issue is. So I explained to you that Race 3, or Jay from Race 3, is making the mounts for me for the 07K, the RX-8 transmission, and the E30. So he was doing all of that with a 3D scan of the engine bay, the 07K, and the RX-8 trans. And once he started putting everything together, he realized that we were going to have a major issue. Now, this particular trans adapter from RX-8 Gearbox Adapters has the engine sitting at a 0-degree angle, so straight up and straight down. In every stock application, the 07K never sits at that angle. It sits more at like a 15 to 20 degree angle. So like if you're looking at the engine bay, this is straight up and straight down. The engine should sit like this, kind of like lopped over at an angle. Well, when we have the 07K in there at a straight up and straight down angle, there's no way it's ever going to clear the hood. I showed you guys that in the last video. But Jay was more concerned about oil pan and oil starvation. So as you can see, this part down is an aluminum upper oil pan, and then there's a steel lower oil pan down there. I knew that we were going to have to make some sort of modifications to the oil pan, but I figured it wouldn't be an issue, you know, even if the transmission and the engine is sitting at a 0-degree angle. What's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen? We were going to have to do some sort of crazy pickup tube design, but with the engine sitting at 0 degrees, we can't do that because the oil pickup tube would go through the subframe, which just isn't possible. So the engine sitting at 0 degrees is not going to be a viable option. So that kind of leaves me in a little bit of a limbo space of what the heck can I do? So here are our options. Number one, we have the guy who made this RX-8 gearbox adapter to the 1.8T, make a custom one that lobs the transmission and engine over at a 15-degree angle. So that's option number one, and that's my favorite option because I'm already so invested in the RX-8 transmission, in the freaking trans adapter. I already have the clutch set up for the RX-8 transmission. Like, I don't really want to change transmissions, and as much as people really want me to, I don't like the other options because they're expensive. Option number two, get a transmission adapter plate for a ZF or Getrag, and then get a ZF or Getrag transmission. I don't like that option for one thing, really, honestly. The Getrag, junk, not very strong, and the ZFs are like $1,000 if you're lucky. At least when I look at eBay, the listings are like, I got a broken ZF for $700. Like, what? It's broken, dude, what? And option number three is my least favorite because it is undoubtedly the most expensive. CD009. So I talked about it before. The transmission adapter for the CD009 is not 07K specific, and it's made out of billet aluminum, so I can't just take a grinder and just grind it down. It's gonna make a mess. It's just not gonna work. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to do it, and not only is it gonna be a pain in the butt, but the kit itself is like $1,300. That's how much I bought the car for. And then, not to mention, CD009s are absolutely freaking gigantic. They're massive. Is it gonna fit in the trans tunnel of the E30? Probably not. And also, they're really expensive. For me, at least. You know, you might see like $1,000 for a transmission. Oh, that's nothing. That's pocket change. To me, teacher salary, that's like a month's salary. So right now, I'm currently talking to the guy that makes the transmission adapters for the RX-8 transmission, and he has no problem redesigning it a bit to have it sit at a 15-degree angle. That's really the most viable option for me financially. And I know you guys are like, oh, please don't run the RX-8 transmission. You're going to blow it up, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I understand. I know you guys are concerned because you guys want to see this thing absolutely rip, and so do I. I'm just not in a position right now to go drop $1,500 on a new solution to make this thing work. I knew this endeavor was going to be expensive, but, you know, things like this I knew were going to pop up. And it sucks, but I just have to keep waiting and find a way to work around it. But with the engine sitting here at a 15-degree angle, we can actually make a custom oil pan. And I know what you guys are thinking, you know, why don't you do the Boost Brothers Garage oil pan or the EFI Motorsports oil pan? I completely hear what you're saying, but notice that the subframe in this engine bay sits so far back. When the engine is in here, there is absolutely no way that a rear sump oil pan would fit. The rear sump would be literally sitting on the steering rack and the subframe. Like, it's just not going to work. So until we get a transmission adapter and a transmission setup that lumps the engine over at a 15 to 20 degree angle, we're kind of stuck. I can't really do anything. So for now, unfortunately, the build is on pause because there's not really much I can do. I'm also working diligently to try to find a title sponsor for this project alongside Arashi Turbo. That's proven to be very difficult. Really, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm trying to start like a motorsports team, essentially. That's kind of like the whole thing. Like, I want to become a really good driver. I want to stop teaching. I want to become full-time content creator, a really good race car driver, have a motorsports team that I can drive and drift all across the country, meet you guys, go to car shows, freaking, I don't even know, do ride-alongs in the freaking Volkswagen 5-cylinder swap BMW E30, like, but when you try to find like a title sponsor and you say, hey, I have this project, this amount of people watch my videos, and I have this amount of following, can I have X amount of dollars? Usually the answer is no, and I kind of feel like a dick when I, send those emails out, but, it is what it is. I will be a walking billboard if that means I can have a freaking 5-cylinder swap BMW E30 drift car that I can take across the country and meet all of you guys and give you guys ride-alongs and all that fun stuff. This really sucks because I'm showing you guys the process of this build in real time, so I don't really have anything that I can do but just sit here and wait. Now you might say, oh, you could, work on the interior of the E30. Well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to start another project until I get the engine into the car. That is my main priority. Getting this car running and driving first. That is my main priority. I don't want to start another side project and then forget about it and then half-ass it, My main priority is getting this set up to frickin' work, get into the engine bay, get this thing ripping, and then we can worry about the cosmetics, the interior. We can do that stuff later because ultimately this car is meant to be frickin' driven and beaten the hell out of. So I'm sorry, that was just pretty much all yapping, all video. I apologize for that, but this is the situation that I'm in. If you did watch the whole video, I do appreciate it, and I am working on getting a solution currently. It's just a kind of wait and see kind of game. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys want to continue to support and you're new here, please subscribe, like the video, comment, do all the fun stuff. And if you guys are already here and already subscribed, I want to thank you for being here. It genuinely means a lot to me, and I'm glad that you guys are invested in this project. And all right, bye guys. Thank you very much. Love you. Good night.